Hello everyone. Hi Saskia. Hi Doreen. Gabriel. Hello Melinda. Alexa. Hi Scott. Rima. Ava Marie. Hi Yvonne. Hi Lori from Ohio, USA. What time is it in Ohio? Hi Liz. Welcome. Good morning from Yogyakarta, Indonesia. Oh, 9 p.m. So it's 12 hours different. So you are uh, Saturday evening and here Sunday morning. Yes. This is from your future, yeah, Lori. Hello, Stacy. Uh, I'm having a tour evening tonight. You're my fourth. Wow, Lori, nice. I hope you enjoy. What a great time to spend your evening, Saturday evening. So this is the fourth tour of yours. And Liz, hello again, Muklas, and everyone. Happy to get to see the temple after seeing the museum with you. All right, yes. Now I show you the temple. Yeah. Eileen, hello Eileen. I've been trying to make a different cocktail. Very nice, yeah, very nice. Hi, Chayin or Sandra. Where are you from, Chayin or Sandra? Hi Donna, hello, and Lindsay from San Diego. Wow, San Diego, and Elaine. Hi Elaine. Oh, Hong Kong, yeah. Chayin from Hong Kong. Yeah, nice. Welcome, welcome everyone. Yeah. So and Carol, hi. How are you? I hope you everybody is great. Yeah. And Judy, hello, and Valerie. Oh, Saskia from snowy Minnesota, USA. Wow, Minnesota, snowy. Oh, it reminds me the movie, the movie of Fargo. I don't know. I see the movie in Minnesota. I think it's like snowy. And hello, Valerie. Yeah, Avon from California, and Camila Mary Lowe. Oh, Fargo is in North Dakota, but that movie took place in Minnesota. Yeah. Oh, oh, North Dakota. Yeah, yeah. So, but because I see the movies like in somewhere. Nice, but I don't know. Yeah, that's why I'm asking you. Yeah, because it's I also watched that movie and also the show. Oh, Valerie, hello from Montana. Hi, Pamela. Nice, yeah. Yesterday and today, I'm happy you joined me again. And Cindy, Pamela from Banff Guide, and Bianca, William. Welcome, everyone. Yeah, welcome. Yeah, it's. Oh yes, Lori. Yeah, Pamela has a tour. Yeah, like Louis. Yeah, nice. Yeah. So if you haven't joined Pamela, yeah, you should join. Maybe she will take you to Lake Louise while I'm here taking you to the temples. Yeah. And hi, Khairin. Selamat pagi, Khairin. Ya, selamat pagi is Indonesian word for good morning. So when we say good morning in Indonesia, we say selamat pagi. Selamat means good, ya, or well. Selamat pagi means morning. Oh, Pamela, yeah, good luck. Yeah, good luck for the tour at Lake Louise tomorrow morning. So, everyone, so welcome to Yogyakarta, welcome to Indonesia. So, if this is your first time with me in Indonesia, so let me introduce myself. My name is Muklas Nuri, but you can call me Klas, Klas. Yeah, I am a tour guide in Indonesia. I was born in Sumatra, but I live in Central Java and live in Yogyakarta. But I do a lot of tours also. Before the COVID, I travel a lot the country, but after the pandemic, so I usually do the virtual tour on Heiku now. And so I do a lot some of Yogyakarta, Surakarta, Wonosobo, and next weekend I'm going to Dieng Plateau for to another beautiful place and another beautiful temple also in Dieng Plateau. But today I'm gonna show you one of the most highlight in Indonesia, the most beautiful, the biggest, highest Hindu temple that was built in the 9th century, which is called Prambanan Temple. Okay, there are two of us, Pamela M and Pamela Bamf. Nice, yeah. Two Pamela here. And Vanessa, welcome, and Mark, welcome. So, everyone, in this tour, I'm going to show you the most beautiful Hindu temple in Indonesia. The name is Prambanan Temple. Yeah, Prambanan Temple, located at the eastern part of Yogyakarta, about 17 kilometer from the city center of Yogyakarta. It takes about more or less 30 minutes to come to this beautiful temple. So I will show you the temples, the ruin, the decorations, the structure, architecture, even also the history, the local legends, etc. But yeah, due to the COVID pandemic, so the management of the heritage sites, so they don't allow us to come to the inside the room, yeah, inside the room of the temple, yeah. So we are not allowed to go to there. So because anyway, even though we are allowed to go to the enter to each room, but the connection also not good. I already tried to come, but this time we go show you from the outside and then go to the some places and look closer. I hope you will enjoy, yeah. So I hope you will enjoy, and I hope you will learn something new from this temple as the greatest Hindu temple in Indonesia. Hello Eileen, and hello Diana. Okay, everyone, are you ready? If you have any question, feel free to ask me. I'm really happy to answer your question. I'll try my best to answer all your questions. So let's do this, the tour of Prambanan Temple in Yogyakarta, Indonesia, with me, Muklas. Let's go. Right, everyone. So now you see, like the ruins here. Yeah, so we are at the Prambanan Temple now, everyone. So this is the greatest Hindu temple in Indonesia. Look at this. What do you think? Yeah, look at this. Isn't it beautiful, everyone? Look at the structure. Yeah. So this temple, imagine, this temple was built in the 9th century in Indonesia. So it's located in central of Java. Java is the most populated island in Indonesia nowadays. Indonesia is very big, one of the big country. There are 270 million people live in Indonesia, and almost 90% are in Java. Yeah, why Java is so popular and so populated? Yeah, because Java, there are a lot of volcanoes in Java. I think yesterday, yeah, Pamela and some of you joined my tours in the volcano, so that you see Java is like many volcanoes. Because of the volcano, it makes the area, the land so rich, so fertile, so people can grow anything, the crops, rice field, spices, everything can be grow very well in Java. Since the old time, people came to Java and they built civilizations, and then one of the greatest civilizations began from the 7th century. Yeah, before 7th century, most of the Javanese people, they were animists. They believe in nature. They believe in spirits. They believe of the power of the big trees, the power of the big mountains, the power of the ocean. So that's before the Hindu culture came to Java. Then in the 6th century, the Hindu by tradings, by the spice tradings, by a lot of people come from the South India came to Indonesia, and they introduced Hinduism to people in Indonesia. And since then, many people converted to Hindu. And then since 7th century, they built kingdom the name Mataram. So ladies and gentlemen, so this temple was built by the kingdom of Mataram. Actually, Mataram kingdom was the beginning at the 7th century. It was Hindu first. Yeah, so after enemies, the Indonesian people they converted to Hindu, and after that, after during the end of the 7th century, there were a lot of Buddhist monks because Indonesia located nearby Cambodia, Thailand, Myanmar, yeah, with its lots of Buddhist people there, and because of that, also many people in Mataram Kingdom converted to Buddhist. Yeah, so in the 7th and in the 8th century, the Mataram Kingdom divided into two dynasties. The first one is called Sanjaya for Hindu and Shailendra for Buddhist. And this temple was built by the dynasty of Shailendra. Oh, Pamela asking how many towers in the complex. Don't worry, I will tell you while we walk later, yeah. So you will see, yeah. So this temple, everyone, was I will move around, yeah. So I will do pradaksina after this. What is pradaksina? Pradaksina is moving clockwise. So after this, I will walk around here first, and then at the west side, I will come to the main complex and show you how many towers that we have here. Okay, yeah. So, but now you see the ruins, yeah, lots of ruins here. What happened with the ruins here? Yeah, so this temple was built in the 9th century by the King Rakai Pikatan from dynasty of Sanjaya, who was Hindu. And this kingdom was very glorious in the 9th until 10th century. But in the beginning of 11th century, there was a big disaster, the big eruption from the volcano, Merapi. Merapi erupted, and the lava came to the village here and destroyed the temples. So the temple broke, and then all the structures is collapsed and look like this, remaining like this. Yeah, one of the greatest ruin I show you the carvings of Kala, everyone. So now you see, yeah, the very scary, yeah, looks scary this one, yeah, yeah. So this is actually the decorations at the top of the door from the small temple. And this is according to Hindu, this character, this is the carvings of Mahakala. Kala, Kala is the guardian of the Hindu temples. He is the servant of Shiva. He is the guardian to protect the good thing inside and keep the evil spirits away. So this is Kala, yeah. So usually only the head, yeah. So this is the head of Kala. It's very big, yeah. I would like to compare my face with with Kala. Yeah, look at this, how big. Yeah, because Kala used to eat human because he was a monster. He was a demon. He liked to eat human. But one day he realized what he do is the wrong. So he came to Shiva. He came to Shiva and asking forgiveness. Yes. So he wanted to become Shiva's servant. But Shiva, as the Mahadeva, the greatest god, didn't trust him. So Shiva said to Kala, why a monster, why a demon want to be my servant? Yeah, because I would like to clean myself from the sin. And Shiva said to him, if you like to be my servant, I give you a test. I will trust you if you do this.
So Kala, you are monster, you are demon. You ate a lot of people, a lot of human body. And now it's time for you to clean yourself by eating your own body. So that's Kala. Kala then just follow what Shiva Mahadeva asking him. Shiva asked him to eat his own body, then Kala do that. Then Kala said, he he uh, he eat his own body. So that's why his leg, his body, his hands is gone because he already eat it. Then Shiva believe him. Okay, now I trust you, and now you are my servant. I will put you at the top of the door as the guardian to keep the good thing inside and keep the evil spirit away. Yeah, so that's the story of Kala, one of the reliefs of the carvings from the temple. That is very important because you will see lots of carvings of Kala everywhere, even in the Buddhist temple. Although Buddhist temple, yeah, Buddha, but they still use the carvings, the symbol of Hindu, because at the time Hindu and Buddhist like live together. Yeah, and then the influence of Hindu still strong. Yeah, so this temple, everybody, yeah, it was built in the 9th century, but the tragedy of the eruptions of the volcano make this temple broken. So since then, you can just see the ruins here. It's very very long time, yeah, because after the eruptions, yeah, after the eruptions, the yes, Cindy, you're right. Buddhism was born from Hinduism, yeah, because Siddhartha Buddha Gautama, the prince from the Kapilavastu kingdom, he was born from the Hindu family, and he left his palace and become Buddha after that. Yeah. So, anyways, that thing, and this temple, yeah, from the 9th century after the eruptions, people went away from this area. Yeah, they believe if their nature was destroyed, yeah, so the land was destroyed, the kingdom was destroyed by nature, so it's not good a place anymore to live. So then, after the 11th century, the people from the kingdom Mataram abandoned this place and they went to the eastern part of Java. Yeah, some of them went to Sumatra. The Buddhist people went to Sumatra. Where at Sumatra there was also the great kingdom called Sriwijaya. Yeah, Sriwijaya kingdom. Yeah. So from then, after 11th century, people left this area. This Yogyakarta area here is empty. Was empty for a long time, from 11th century until 16th century. Yeah, but in the 16th century, the reborn of Mataram Kingdom again. So in 16th century, Mataram Kingdom was reborn in this area, but with the different religions. It's not Hindu or Buddhist anymore, but in the 16th century, Mataram Kingdom was Islam Kingdom, the first Islam kingdom in south of Java. Yeah. So so what happened after that? Yeah. So the Muslim people didn't know the story about this temple, like the history missing. Yeah, something like in the old time, in the past time, they never understand what kind of buildings here. Yeah, and then some of the place of the temple here buried. Yeah, the by the lava. Some of the structure was buried by the lava. Just in the 19th century after that. So you can see, like all the ruin here. So this is still from the eruptions, broken from the eruption and earthquake. So in and exactly in 1811 until 1816, that was the time of occupation by British. Yeah, by British occupation in Indonesia in 1811 until 1816. So it was under the command of uh, Sir Thomas Stamford Raffles. Yeah, Sir Thomas Stamford Raffles was the leader of the British armies in Indonesia, in Java. Yeah, so in 1814, Raffles was reported by his team that there was a buildings in this area. So then in 1815, Raffles sent his team to explore to discover this temple. Yeah, so after that, the research began. So many of the team from the British and the team from archaeologists tried to recover, discover this place and seek some information. So in 1815, it's like the first process of discovery of this temple of Prambanan. Yeah, by British, by Sir Thomas Stamford Raffles, and the team who leads the explorations was Carl Mackenzie. Yeah, Carl Mackenzie, who came to this village and then he excavate this area, and after that, the restoration happens begin. Yeah, until today, the project of restoration is not finished. Yeah, because you can see, yeah, the ruin here, and then our government keep rebuild each temple here. So that's because now is Sunday, so the worker is holiday, so they don't work. But you see some of the new stone here to rebuild the broken structure of the temple. Okay, Donna asking who aimed the lava away. Yeah, who aimed the lava away? That's during the discovery by the British in 1815, and after that the after that continue by the Dutch archaeologists under the command of the Iserman from the Dutch. Yeah, so after that continues by the Indonesian government in 1950s, and it finished in 1990. Yeah, so very long process, everyone, because this complex is big, around 14 acres of size of this temple, including the main temple and outside temple. So this is like the style of the Hindu temple, everyone. So actually there is the different architecture between Hindu and Buddhist temple. Actually it's quite easy to to uh, to know which one is Buddhist and which one is Hindu. So we can see from the top. Yeah, this temple, you see the top of the temple here, the shape is like the mountain. In Hindu belief, it's called Mahameru. Maha means great, Meru is mountain. Mahameru is the place where the god lives. Mahameru, Meru, yeah, the mountain shape. This is like the Hindu style, usually like this. While Buddhist temple, usually it has like a dome and a bell shape on the top, which we call it stupa. So if you see temples like this is Hindu. And you see the temple has the stupa, like bell shape on the top, that is Buddhist. And the other characters of Hindu temples, it's not only the roof, but also the Parvara. So these are Parvara temple. What is Parvara temple? Parvara temple is the guardian temple. The guardian temple that protect the main temple, everyone. Yeah, to protect the main temple. So this area, now I tells you the number of how many temples here. So this temple contains 224 parvara, 224 parvara or small temples, and there are 16 temples inside the main complex. So all the total 16 in the main complex and 224 outside surrounding the main complex. So there are 240. So 240, yeah, it's very lot of many 240 temples in this complex of Prambanan. And when we talk about Prambanan, actually Prambanan is not the original name of this temple. Prambanan actually is the name of this village. This village named Prambanan. Prambanan because it comes from the word Brahman. Brahman is the priest of the Hindu priest. So Prambanan is the place for the Hindu priest. So the village named Prambanan. And actually, when during the discovery, they found the inscriptions, the gold inscriptions, and it says Siva Graha. Siva Graha. What is Siva Graha? Siva is the god Shiva, and Graha means house. So Siva Graha means the house of Shiva. So it means, so of course, this should be Hindu temple. So because it belongs to Shiva, and also from the design, it has a Meru, and from the outside, it has Parvara. Yeah. And nowadays, Donna, very nice questions. Yeah. After 16th century, yeah, when it discovered in 16th century, actually by the local people already know. Local people already know this temple, but the people that in the 16th century already Muslim, and they don't know and they don't understand about this temple. Then they believe this temple is haunted. So that's why there is the very local legend about this temple, everyone. So yeah. So imagine from the beginning of the 11th century, people went from this place, and then in 16th century they come back, and then people build a settlement and they explore this area who like to build rice field, but they found the old architecture, but they didn't know what is this, who built this. So they just created the story, created the legends, because they found a statue of lady, beautiful lady, and they believe, wow, this could be Roro Jonggrang, a very famous folk legends. Roro Jonggrang, the princess of Jonggrang. So there's, let me tell you the little bit, yeah, the legends here. So Roro Jonggrang was a princess that ruled this Boko area. So in this area, sorry, I try my use my mask again. Yeah. So Roro Jonggrang was the ruler of the Boko village here. She was very beautiful. She was very beautiful and very powerful. Oh, sorry, everyone. She's so very powerful and so famous from her beauty, until one day she get proposed by a man from eastern part of Java. Yeah. So this man, was very powerful man. His name was Bandung Bondowoso. So Bandung Bondowoso was very strong man. He fell in love with Roro Jonggrang, and he came to this village, and he asked Roro Jonggrang, "Hey Roro Jonggrang, will you marry me?" Yeah. He said that. Yeah, but according to the local culture, everyone, in Javanese culture, to say no is very rude. It's not polite. So when usually in Java, yeah, when we want something, and then after that, actually we don't want to do that. So we never say no directly. It's not polite and it's rude. So when Bandung Bondowoso asked Roro Jonggrang, "Hey Roro Jonggrang, will you marry me?" And Roro Jonggrang said, "I will marry you if you can build me 1,000 temple." Yeah. Imagine if you build me 1,000 temple in one night. Very smart, yeah, the lady. Roro Jonggrang said that to Bandung Bondowoso that, yes, you will be my husband if you can build me 1,000 temple in one night. Yeah, but Bandung Bondowoso actually is the very strong man. He has a lot of armies, including the jinns, ghost spirits. And during the night, Bandung Bondowoso invited the spirits to work with him and build the temples. After the middle of the night, Roro Jonggrang realized that Bandung Bondowoso would finish the temple. Then she had an idea. She bit worried because when Bandung Bondowoso can finish the temple and she will marry him. So she doing a tricks. So he call or the people in the village. So she wakes the people in the village, and the people in the village like, okay, you have to wake up and then do the morning activity. Yeah, actually it's after the middle of the night, and then uh, people are awake, and people were busy in this time. Then it make the animal confused. The chicken, the rooster already hear a lot of activity, and the chicken wake up. And when the chicken wake up and the rooster wake up and kukuruyuk, so the spirit who were helping Bondowoso to build the temple realized, wow, this is morning, so we couldn't work if already morning. So the spirit that's gone after they hear the sound from the rooster. So then Bandung Bondowoso at that time already finished 999 temples. 999, yeah. So after that he realized that the lady tricked him. So then he came to the lady, and then he cursed the lady to become a stone. And then he finished the last temple by himself and put the stone of the lady into the last temple. Then become Candi Roro Jonggrang. This one. Yeah, but actually, yeah, that's the legend, yeah, everybody. But by the theory, by the science after the discovery by the British and the Dutch archaeologists, they've actually the statue of the lady is not Roro Jonggrang, but that is the statue of Durga. Who is Durga? Durga actually the wife of Shiva. Okay, so now I'm gonna show you the compositions of the temple, everyone. But just before, just want to show you the beautiful carvings, decorations around this temple here. Yeah, look at this. The temple here decorated by some of the animals. Yeah, it's the symbol of the balance. Yeah, the couples, animals. There are couples like cats, birds, and under the Kalpataru tree. Kalpataru is very important plant in Hinduism. This is the uh, I don't know in English. Yeah, we call it kancil and monkey. Yeah, this is monkey, and under the Kalpataru trees with lion. Yeah, maybe you can see here the carvings. Yeah, and this is the deers and rabbits and another cats. Yeah, and Kinara Kinari. Yeah, Kinara Kinari is the angel. The Kinara is like half bird, half human. Half bird, half human. Yes, Cindy, Kalpataru is a wishing tree. Yeah, like the universe, that's the symbol, the wishing, the symbol of hope. That hope that in this universe, that's actually man and woman, yeah, the animals both in couple, so cannot be separated. Yeah, this is wish, something like that. Yeah. Yes, Lori, the carving is so intricate, and it seems like every inch of every tower is covered. It must have taken decades. Yes. So the material of this temple was built by using the stone of andesite from the volcano. Yeah, the stone is from volcano. So why do the king of Rakai Pikatan, the king from the Hindu dynasty, build this temple? Yeah. So this is the reason why. Yeah. Although at that time, of course, this temple for worships the Hindu gods. So who are the Hindu gods? So let me show you from this side. Uh, I show you this. Yeah, this one. This one, as the biggest temple here, is called Shiva Temple. Shiva. Shiva is the god of this destroyer. Shiva, the Mahadeva. Maha means great and Deva means God. Mahadeva, this is the Shiva temple. And the next one here, this is Brahma temple. Brahma temple, the god of creator. And the north side is Vishnu temple, the god of protections. Yeah, so this temple of Prambanan indicates the Trinity in Hinduism. Trinity, or in Hindu they said Trimurti. Trimurti, the three main gods in Hindu belief. Actually, in Hindu, they believe in like one god, Sang Hyang Widi. Sang Hyang Widi is God, and the God has multiple characters. God is the creator, God is the preserver, God is also destroyer. So one God, it become three face like this: the creator, the destroyer, and the protector. Yeah, can you ever go inside? Donna asking me. Yes, actually, before the pandemic, the visitors are allowed to go inside. So, because the Shiva temple is the biggest temple here, so only Shiva's temple that has 4 rooms. 4 rooms here. So there is the temples of Mahadeva and Ganesha, Mahaguru, and Durga. So the statue of the lady, the cursed lady, actually the statue of Durga, which we can find inside this temple of Shiva. There are 4 statues, yeah, inside this temple. But while Brahma temple, only one statue of Brahma, and Vishnu temple, only one temple of Vishnu. Only Shiva's temple is the biggest, as the greatest temple here. It has 47-meter high, everyone. Can you imagine? 47 in the 9th century. How amazing the carvings, the people can build such of the very amazing structures. That's very, very like wonderful. Yeah. So look at this. Another carvings of the lion. But actually, inside the temple also there are some carvings, the reliefs of the story of Ramayana, and some statues. Now I couldn't show you. I couldn't show you what the statue because we are not allowed to go inside. But later in the next tour, I'm going to the museum and I show you the statue that was taken from the inside of the temple. Yes. So if you like to know more about inside the temple of Prambanan, just join my tours, next tours after this. Just yeah. That's thank you, Liz. Thank you. Yeah, for them to unravel the mystery of the Prambanan temple. Look at the carvings of uh, Makara. Yeah. Remember the story of Kala, everyone? That he eat his own body and he has only one head already. So after he became a servant, he looking for help. So he came to the lake and he visit some animals who in fight. There were elephants and lions in fights. And then Kala asked them to stop. Hey, animals, don't you fight. So you have to follow me. I am the servant of Shiva, and I would like to also you to be my support. Yeah? So do you want to be the servant of the gods? So the animals say yes. So then after that, the lion and the elephant, they together become the fusions and called Makara. And with also the crocodile or like the water animal. Can be crocodile, can be fish. So the body like the fish, and it has the lion uh, head with also the elephant trunks. Yeah, so this is actually the elephant from the elephant trunks. Yeah, so that's actually what's happened. Look like this. So then Kala Kala and Makara become like the servant of the gods and the protector to keep the good thing inside and keep the evil spirit away. Yeah, this is some carvings so that it show but it looks like the Shiva, the symbol of the god of Shiva as the Mahadeva. Yeah, so there are three main temples here, everybody. Three main temples, and also there are three Wahana temple. So what is Wahana temple? So these are three facing each other. The main temple are the temple of Wahana. Wahana is the vehicle of the gods. Wahana, yeah, Wahana. So every god has the animal. Like a Shiva here, Shiva is the greatest god, has the animal named Nandi. Nandi is a bull. Yeah, bull. Yeah, that's why bull or cow is the sacred animal for Hindu people because it belongs to Shiva. And for Brahma as the creator, he has also the animal, and his animal is swan. Swan. And for Vishnu here, Vishnu temple, and he has the animal names Garuda. Garuda is the eagle temples. Yeah, Garuda. And then every temples there is another temples of this. Yeah, we call it Candi Apit. Yeah, so there are 6 big temple inside main complex, and there are 10 small temples like that one. This is Candi Clear, Candi Apit, yeah, and 3 main temples here: protector, creator, destroyer, and 3 animals temple: Garuda, eagle, Nandi, bull, and Angsa, swan. So to show to people at that time for Hindu people for worship. Yeah, so in the 9th century. But yeah, after that, after 16th century, so after the discovery, so because after the discovery, so Hindu was not become the majority. And now the majority is Islam, anyway, everybody. So the Muslim people, the Muslim people become the majority until now. Yes, little bit raining. Please look at the carvings. Yeah. So after 16th century, the growth of Islam people very big here in Java, and until today's in Indonesia is the biggest Muslim country in the world, like the greatest. There are almost 90% of the population in Indonesia is Muslim. So nowadays, this temple, because this area in this village already Muslim people, so the people uh, don't come to worship to here. Permisi Pak. Yeah. Okay, so I just photo boom. Yeah, so after nowadays, because of the people outside the areas here Muslim, and now this temple only for visit for tourists, and maybe some people of the Hindu, they still come here. Yeah, usually people from Bali, they still come here, but nowadays in everyday life, daily life, this temple is not has a function as the worshipping place. Now is only for visits for tourists, everyone. Yeah, so this is the legacy of the Mataram kingdom from the 9th century, who which was built in the 9th century, but it was uh, destroyed at the beginning of 11th century and rediscovered in 1815 by the British in under the command of Sir Thomas Stamford Raffles. And then after that, the project continued. After finishing the main temples, the main complex of Prambanan, and now the government of Indonesia try to rebuild this Parvara or smaller temple here, which is consists 224. So to rebuild one temple, small temple here, it takes about 2 years, 1.5 until 2 years. So will be very long process to rebuild all the temple here in Prambanan. Yeah. Okay, now it's cloudy, everybody. It looks it's going to rain. So do you have a question, everyone? I hope you enjoy. Yeah, I hope you enjoy, and you have a beautiful postcard from of this temple of Prambanan, and I hope you learn something new from this temple. And if you would like to see deeper informations about the Prambanan, after this tour, I have another tour to the mystery of the Prambanan temple. We will discover a deep story. Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me today on the Prambanan temple. I hope you enjoy. I hope you learn something new. Thank you so much, Donna, Lori, Liz. Yeah, you are the best. And Pamela, you are welcome, everyone. So, thank you so much also for your support. It means a lot to me. Yeah, and I really appreciate all your support and all your feedbacks. It's also helpful to improve my channel, to improve my page on Heygo. So will be more people to join my tour in Indonesia. And I would like to invite you for the next tour. Thank you, Liz, for the link. You can click the link and for follow me to the unravel the mystery of Prambanan Temple. That I will show you the statue of the gods, the process of the building, the process of how the king designed this area, and the mystery about the lost statue, the lost uh, history. So we'll be at the museum just nearby here. Yeah, so thank you so much for today. I hope you have a great time, wonderful life, stay safe, stay healthy, and greetings from Prambanan Temple, Yogyakarta, Indonesia, with me, your tour guide Indonesia, Muklas Nuri. Thank you, everyone. See you soon. Bye bye. Bye bye, everybody. Thank you so much.